with the water project to the tune of 8 million francs. Today, that borehole, that water source is serving more than 1,500 students, teachers, and the entire community of Ambe. Today, we are here, stronger and better, with your support to provide an electronic library. And of course, to tell us the state of the association and present that electronic library project, permit me once again to invite to the microphone the president of OOSA North America, is none other than Dr. Solomon Eyoh. Can we please give him another round of applause? Thank you.
Thank you, MC. You did a wonderful job today. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening. I'm not going to hold on and talk about the speeches here because we have to move on. But again, I want to thank especially those of you who are coming in the second time for this occasion to help us raise funds. I really want to express my sincere appreciation for all what you do. So the idea of eLibrary was debated over at least 2 years or so, and we finally decided that that was the right thing to do after considering other options. We said that was the right thing to do because it's very appropriate. It's an educational institution, so it's very appropriate. And then the way it's set up is easy to set up and it's difficult to be installed. We're going to think about that too. So we're here to do just that. I don't want to belabor the point because we have somebody who has a complete mastery of this project. And he's going to present to us very succinctly what this project is all about. It's Professor Ambe Njoh, who happens to be a professor of environmental science in the University of South Florida, and he needs no further introduction. I'm just going to stop there, and so he's going to give us a brief on what the eLibrary is all about, and after that we're going to launch the fundraising project. Thank you so much.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have that presentation by Professor Njoh, and like you heard, Professor Ambe Njoh is also an OOSAN. He started off in the class of 1977, building construction class of 1977. And like you heard today, he is a professor of environmental science and policy at the University of South Florida. He is also the CEO of Njoh Polyclinic and Njoh Technical College in Buea in Cameroon. He is the keynote speaker at this year's convention. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight he is going to give us a presentation on the eLibrary project at Ambe College. I think we're having a few technical difficulties with the projector, but please bear with us. I can only imagine how important this eLibrary would be to the students, because for those of us who went to grammar school, they used to teach us how to draw the part of a butterfly, and we will spend hours trying to draw a butterfly, an annotated diagram. Thank you, I'm looking for that one. An annotated diagram of a butterfly. So I can only imagine how students of technical school like Ambe College would do when they had to do the same kind of technical drawing. They had to buy some paper, and then after a few days, they want to go to school, the book lost, or rainfall when the paper is tear. And then you lose all of that, and then you go to beg from a friend who doesn't want to share with you. All right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, my thought is that with an infrastructure or a resource like the eLibrary, you could have all of these things electronically stored for the students to see firsthand, in color, as a matter of fact, in 3D. If we had that, if they have that, with your support, I know they will. So that's part of what the eLibrary project is all about, to provide those kinds of resources so that students can see some of those things, and some even see them in real time. You could say, okay, with this drawing, this is what the finished product will look like. And so we really call on you to support this project so that those students back in Ambe will have the eLibrary and will have the resources to make them better engineers, better food and nutritionists, better bricklayers, and better technical experts. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that said, I can see the projector is back up and running. Can we now please give a big round of applause for Professor Njoh as he comes to the microphone to do that presentation about the eLibrary. Can we give him another round of applause, please? Thank you.
Thanks a great deal. I was looking outside and I realized that it's raining, and I want to make sure that you understand that the room is not full, not because we didn't do a good job inviting people, it's just because the natural circumstances did not work in our favor. But I'm one who likes to go with the mantra that it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight of the dog that counts at the end of the day. So small numbers, we count on the critical mass. For those of you who are here, I know you're going to do such a wonderful job. And they said big things come in small packages. So I trust that. Now, let me give you sort of a rundown of what this project is all about. When we talk about the eLibrary, the committee that we dealt with this, it started off and it turned out that there were those who thought it was going to be such a huge project. As a matter of fact, after all was said and done, we needed to actually start to convince them that a project this inexpensive can go several kilometers, or if you're in America, we should say several miles. But so that's what it is. So this is the issue. Universities do have e-libraries. But the types that we run at the university are very sophisticated and working at on a wavelength that is quite apart from what we are doing here. I think what has been the problem with developing countries has always been that they try to cut their coat to the size of someone else. So in an attempt to do that, we wind up always following and never leading. In this particular project, what we intend to do is to use the resources at our disposal and make the best out of it. It's called maximizing utility function of whatever we have with us. So if you were to give a gentleman or a lady lemon, the best thing you can do with it, if that's all you have, prepare lemonade. And so this is where we're going with this. Now the project, as you see, is an eLibrary project. And so it's by OOSA. I don't know if you can see all the way in the back. I apologize, we are using an antique sort of projector here. But you know, I'm told that carpenters tend to have the worst types of furniture in their houses. So for a technical institution, this is what we could show for a projector. I really have to beg your pardon here. But whatever you can see, if you can't see, I'll talk about it. So if there's anything you need to ask me in the form of a question, please do feel free to do that. Now, so it is by OOSA, and what OOSA is the Ambe All Students Association. It's actually, if you will, an offshoot of a thing that used to be called Ambe All Boys Association, UBA. And it turns out that now we have ladies, we are now called Ambe All Students Association. The ladies came, I'm told, to tame the guys. We had already left, so I don't know how the taming by a woman feels like, except the taming from my mom. So anyway, so we move right along. And the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is that you are going to, we would hope, and we are appealing to you to donate generously. But you see, for anyone in a capitalist society, that question that this begs for is, can you prove to me that you've done something before when you've been entrusted with these kinds of resources? And so our proof of that lies in the pudding. You can see right here that this is not the first project of a major magnitude that we're going to be involved in. And so what you see there is that we've done a very, very magnanimous project, and I'm not here being that lizard that fell from the tree. No one said, hey, you did a wonderful job, and it started to nod. No, I'm saying so because others have said, so I'm not saying what I'm saying. I'm saying people have said, you guys did a great job. So I'm actually just regurgitating what others have said. And it's not about a story in the grapevine. This is public information by this time in Cameroon. And that project itself, you would need to just stop by there. Even if you are not thirsty for water, you would feel like you want to have some water. I bet you my last penny on that. Now, so what else have we done? As an association that has just been around for a couple of years, guess what? We've made our mark on the science of time. And one of the things that we've done in this respect is to ensure that our students, I mean not our students, I beg your pardon, our members, whenever they are hit by problems, like what happens from time to time when you lose a family member, we've been there for them. And in fact, we are hearing those reverberations from Cameroon itself. They told us that, can you imagine the envelope you sent to us? So what actually happened, we were very, very appreciative of that. So that will be one of those major projects that we've been involved in. And that is the second project, as a matter of fact. But let me go ahead and start. You see, the problem of a library, we went to Ambe at a time when we're given everything, provided free of charge. So it turns out that we were given books, you signed the books and you utilized them. These books had to be very expensive. I still remember when I first came to the United States and I was in the School of Architecture, one book cost $150. And you must be going like $150, not a big deal. No, back in the 80s it was. And so books can be one of those things that can be so expensive. And so we thought about this and asked ourselves the question, what is it that we can actually endow a student in Ambe with that will be memorable? You could give them all the food you want to give. When they are done eating, they have to have a bowel movement. Is that what you guys call it in the medical field? Okay, they have to have that. It turns out that every other thing you give them, knowledge when it is in their head, never goes anywhere. I still will remember to this date where I found the formula for quadratic equation. That book has never gone off my head. So, my grandma used to tell me about this. She told me all the time, the soil will never lie to you. Because she was a farmer in Ikata. When you go from Moyoka, you go in that direction towards Munyenge. And that is where she was, and she told me, the farm never lies to you. You know what I tell people today? The book will never lie to you. And so we are endowing them with the books. But see, you're talking about people, some come from Las Bush. If you know Ambe, you know where Las Bush is. So you should understand that we could not be talking about them carrying volumes of books. But volumes of books too have their vulnerability. That is, they are prone to, fire disasters. So what else could you endow them with? Endow them with something that is virtual. And so a library like this one is actually virtual. So the problem we found to solve was that we're looking at the 21st century. But also remember one thing. How many of you are aware that when you come from Cameroon, even with a master's degree, and you are tested on your reading aptitude in America, you read at the 5th grade? I know you may find it insulting. But what that means is that we used to have a gentleman who taught us English at Ambe, Mr. Agbota. You know how we had to go through it? We read. You read and then pass to the next individual, and pass to the next individual. This is what he would say. Child, boy, you've counted enough. Give it to the next student. What was counting? It was the reading. And these programs that we are going to introduce to them will show them how to do speed reading. We teach our students, especially when I have foreign students under my auspices, I do teach them how to read fast. In fact, we do not, when you think that PhDs do actually read as you think you read, or those who have not gone to that level. No, you can't do that because you can't finish all the volumes you are supposed to be done with. You skim. You skim. And so that is what Americans do, and then tell you they just read, and you are reading at fifth grade. Because you have to do your accounting, right? We do accounting word by word until we get to here. So but that is what we are going to do. We want to make them get to the 21st century, so that when you come from Cameroon, and one of the advantages we have is that we come, typically, we are already set, and we can speak the language. Now, however, because there is a digital divide, we are not going to be at the same level of performance that Americans are. So what do? We make do with what we have. If you don't have what you want, better want what you have. That's how it goes. Now, therefore, the ideal learning system for such a country like Cameroon is one that will function offline. Why do we say so? When you are talking just on a phone call, you start seeing all the hiccups. You experience those. So how much more of an electronic library if you were to be dependent on the internet? You could bet your last dime it's not going to work very, very functional. So we are designing one here that you can take all the way to Eshimbi. You can take it all the way to Babunka, wherever you are in Cameroon that you find yourself. In fact, I'm encouraging people, if you want to make a gift to your village, this will be one gift you can consider. And so I'm going to, continue with that. These are the components. The components of this eLibrary system is a Raspberry Pi. I will give you the costing of all of this in a little bit. And so it is the Raspberry Pi that is your server, and the Colibri is actually a learning platform, which is an open source learning platform as it is. So we go to the next one here. And the merits of this is that it requires no internet. I know you'll be surprised. No internet, yes. When you are on campus, you actually can just browse. You browse as if you were on the internet. As long as you have a browser, and the browsers are free of charge. One of your browsers that you use typically will be Google. You can also use Yahoo, you can use Bing, and there are others that you can use, but the commonest one would be the Google. And so, then of course, it has a wide variety of hardware, and then it's a seamless distribution of data and syncing, which you can always download from the internet. All right? So there is an interface between that and the internet. Then of course, the usability of this, the proposed system is very, very user-friendly. Not one of those systems, all you need to do is to log in. There is one already in operation as I'm talking to you right now at Njoh Technical College, a college that I am pretty much, glad to be part of, which is Njoh Technical College in Boya. So one of the things that you see there is that it contains itself, it allows students to learn at their individual pace. And I'll show you on display here one of those learning, because we have a piece here which shows a lecture in physics, and I'll show you how that goes. Because these are all available. It would allow you to attend school in Canada at any time at your own pace. And we have all of those available to you, and we're going to do that. Then it permits instructors to help the students find relevant content on related platforms. Then of course, the Colibri itself is there, and Colibri is free of charge on the internet. You can actually download it. It's a software you just download, and it can be yours to keep. And then we then use that to interface it. But of course, what you actually need in place is the Raspberry Pi. And so it also contains channels. The channels are there. You have a learning channel. You also have the instructors channels. And what that means is that for the instructor channel, they can pretty much prepare their lectures. Whether they are those that are delivered live in the classroom, there will be a version of that that will be pre-recorded, which will then be posted for them, for the student. And the student can now access it. Let's say the student had time only at midnight. If the library is not open, that's not a problem. As long as Colibri is on, the Raspberry Pi is on, any student who sits, if you remember Ambe, if you sit outside on that veranda, the corridor right there, you'll be able to log in and do whatever you want to do as an assignment or anything of that sort. So that is there. Then, this is the Colibri, that's the mark if you are looking for one. That's the mark you will find. And there is a link that I've given there. That link that is provided will allow you to be able to go in and download Colibri. Like I said, it's free of charge. It is actually, this is one of those gadgets that we have available when, thanks to COVID. Because when COVID came around, that's how Americans were instructing students in secondary school here. And of course, we use that too at the university. Now, I'm going to put this on. It will just be a very, very brief video, but it's going to for anyone who might have had a phobia about science courses. This is going to tell you that we're missing on something which was quite, first of all, very, very simplistic, because you see how it is taught. The best teachers are those who handle these programs, online learning and things like those. So here we go. So these are the various programs that you can use. These are also free of charge. They are the learning sources. Then you have, all right, and so, okay, and these are all part of your software. And I'm told that in the interest of time, now this is the design. All right, this is the proposal that we have. It's a tailor-made system, and the proposal, we didn't just come to this on our own. We sort of did some research in the background, and that is what we then came up with. And so this is based on, basically, it is based on a lot of background research, and this we know that we work in a place like Cameroon. This is the cost, but again, this cost will be made available to you, at a later time. It's just in the interest of time that I have to move on, I'm told, so I don't want to waste too much time, but that's what it is, and it comes down to, so we can talk about this some more, but we'll give you the total cost, but these are the various elements in that particular proposal that we have. So let me go ahead and end right there in the interest of time. I think we're running late already. Thank you so much for your attention. And I apologize for the technical glitches.